All right. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be in time and space. Pardon me. Little congestion today. So I'm starting a half an hour early because I wanted to make sure that I can get in here and get everything set up. But two, I reinstalled Bush Talk Radio, and I tried to get in high definition maps for all this, but I don't know that I've got everything going on. Okay. But what I wanted to do before, in the first half hour, I didn't want to do this right as we started, where everybody's trying to get information and do everything else. So, no, we don't want that. That's weird how that push talk thing will take over my screen. 1 second, I got to click into it and then click out of it again. There we go. Okay, but let me show you the Bush Talk page. Okay, so this app right here, every time we fly near or around one of these points, we get an audio tour. Okay, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to get all these knocked out before we take off because, again, some of these can be a little, not really long. It's just that it takes a while to get through them all sometimes. Let's start right away. Let's just get into it. We only have a half an hour here. And you hit play.
Provostenin, also known as Benzinoen, is an artificial island off the northeast coast of Arma in Copenhagen,
that's what we're looking at.
Denmark. It is located between the Arma Hill Combined Incineration Plant and ski slope to the north and Arma Strand Park to the south. It was created as a marine fortress to guard the entrance to Copenhagen harbour in the second half of the 18th century and served military purposes until 1922. It now houses the city's petroleum harbour. Provestensbrunn at the end of Prague's boulevard links it with the rest of Arma. Provostenin is still home to Copenhagen's petroleum harbour, but much of the capacity is no longer needed following the oil crisis in the 1970s and the discovery of oil and gas in the North Sea. Remains of Meldal's fortress are still seen at the site. Plans for the large new Copenhagen marina with room for 1,500 boats was put on hold in 2011.
Okay, so that is that island right there that we're looking at. So that's an artificial island that was used for military purposes, and yeah, now they just house a bunch of oil on it. Still very military. Okay. Right next to it, directly to the come on, mouse, come on. We don't have time to mess around. This power plant looks like this is part of it. It's part of the tour, so.
Arma Baki, also known as Arma Slope or Copenhill, is a combined heat and power waste-to-energy plant new handling center and recreational facility in Arma, Copenhagen, Denmark, located prominently within view of the city's downtown. The facility opened in 2017.
Look at that, they built
replaced the nearby
earth on top of the building.
In Arma, which is in the process of being converted from coal to biomass.
Crazy.
Expected finished
It's like a ski slope.
Plants play a major role in Copenhagen's ambitions of meeting zero carbon requirements by 2025. The recreational components of the facility,
crazy
ski run, hiking trail and climbing wall, opened in December 2018, with an attendance estimated at 42 to 57,000 visitors annually. Copenhill was named the World Building of the Year 2021 at the 14th Annual World Architecture Festival.
You got some interesting art going on over here. All right, so let me get back to my Bush Talk over here. And all right, so right across the water and looking back, somewhere right in, now actually, I never want to speed up my drone, and now I want to speed up my drone. I'm thinking it's this place right here on the map, and we've got this.
The Copenhagen Opera House
The
is
Opera
the national
House.
opera house of Denmark.
Okay, so that's
and
probably
one of the
it.
most modern opera houses in the world. It is also one of the most expensive opera houses ever built, with construction costs well over $500 million US dollars. It is located on the island of Holmen in central Copenhagen. The house is administered by the Royal Danish Theatre and is one of the best equipped in the world.
Holmen.
There's a main stage with 5 stages directly connected, where large setups can be moved easily in and out. The theatre can seat between 1492 and 1703, depending on the size of the orchestra. The 1,492 seats are all individually angled in order to provide the best experience.
Sydney Holmen. Sydney Holmen is a pilot on YouTube, and she does instructionals, and she is amazing. Okay, so right behind the Opera House, on the other side of the road here, we have another landmark or point that it's pointing at here. What is this here? This is Amalienborg.
Amalienborg is the home of the Danish royal family and is located in Copenhagen, Denmark. It consists of 4 identical classical palace facades with rococo interiors around an octagonal courtyard. In the center of the square is a monumental equestrian statue of Amalienborg's founder, King Frederick V. Amalienborg was originally built for 4 noble families. However, when Christiansborg Palace burned on the 26th of February 1794, the royal family bought the palaces and moved in. Over the years, various monarchs and their families have resided in the 4 different palaces.
All right. Now, if I've got my Shakespeare right, this is where Hamlet was from, right? Denmark? I got that wrong last time. And right behind it is Frederick's Church.
Frederick's Church, popularly known as the Marble Church for its Rococo architecture, is an evangelical Lutheran church in Copenhagen, Denmark. The church forms the focal point of the Fredrikstaden district. It is located due west of Amalienborg Palace.
It's like they were working on it at the time. Bunch of scaffolds.
By King Frederick V on October 31st, 1749, but the construction was slowed by budget cuts and the death of Ejgft in 1754. In 1770, the original plans for the church were abandoned by Johann Friedrich Struensee. The church was left incomplete and, in spite of several initiatives to complete it, stood as a ruin for nearly 150 years.
Wow.
Rosenborg Castle is a Renaissance castle located in Copenhagen, Denmark. The castle was originally built as a country summerhouse in 1606 and is an example of Christian IV's many architecture.
But do you have a moat?
We do. In the Dutch Renaissance style, typical of Danish buildings during this period, and has been expanded several times, finally evolving into its present condition by the year 1624. Architects Bertal Lang and Hans van Steenwinckel the Younger are associated with the structural planning of the castle.
That is very pretty. Okay, I have a couple more here. You turn my camera. We're at Rosenborg. So up here and behind, yeah, that structure there.
Parken Stadium, known for spontaneous reasons as Telia Parken,
no,
is a football stadium
that's over here.
Oslo district of Copenhagen, Denmark, built from 1990 to 1992. The stadium, which features a retractable roof, currently has a capacity of 38,065 for football games, and is the home of FC Copenhagen and the Denmark national football team. The capacity for concerts exceeds the capacity for matches. The stadium can hold as many as 50,000 people with an end stage setup and 55,000 with a center stage setup. Telia Parken has been announced as one of 12 host venues of the UEFA Euro 2020. It will host 3 group stage matches, as well as a round of 16 match. Geranium, a 3 Michelin star restaurant, is located on the 8th floor of the...
That's lovely. Okay, so now let me grab my map here. All right, just south of Rosenborg, or sorry, just southwest, we have here It's just talking about Copenhagen in general.
Copenhagen is the capital and most populous city of Denmark, with a population of 1.3 meters. And the Copenhagen metropolitan area 2,057,142. Copenhagen is on the islands of Zealand and Armor, separated from Malmö, Sweden, by the Øresund Strait. The Øresund Bridge connects the two cities by rail and road. Originally a Viking fishing village established in the 10th century in the vicinity of what is now Gammel Strand, Copenhagen became the capital of Denmark in the early 15th century. Beginning in the 17th century, it consolidated its position as a regional center of power with its institutions, defenses, and armed forces. Since the turn of the 21st century, Copenhagen has seen strong urban and cultural development, facilitated by investment in its institutions and infrastructure. The city is the cultural, economic and governmental center of Denmark. It is one of the major financial centers of Northern Europe with the Copenhagen Stock Exchange. Copenhagen's economy has seen rapid developments in the service sector, especially through initiatives in information technology, pharmaceuticals and clean technology. With a number of bridges connecting the various districts, the cityscape is characterized by parks, promenades, and waterfronts. Copenhagen's landmarks such as Tivoli Gardens, the Little Mermaid statue, the Amalienborg and Christiansborg palaces, Rosenborg Castle, Frederiks Church, Borgen and many museums, restaurants and nightclubs are significant tourist attractions. The University of Copenhagen, founded in 1479, is the oldest university in Denmark. Copenhagen is one of the most bicycle-friendly cities in the world. The Copenhagen Metro, launched in 2002, serves central Copenhagen. Additionally, the Copenhagen S-Train, the local tog, and the coastline network serve and connect central Copenhagen to outlying boroughs. Serving roughly 2.5 million passengers a month, Copenhagen Airport, Kastrup, is the busiest airport in the Nordic countries.
That stockyard, or that train yard, is big. Underneath us is Tivoli.
Tivoli, also known as Tivoli Gardens, is an amusement park and pleasure garden in Copenhagen, Denmark. The park opened on the 15th of August 1843 and is the second oldest operating amusement park in the world, after Deerhavsbakken in nearby Klompenborg, also in Denmark. With 4.6 million visitors in 2017, Tivoli is the second most popular seasonal theme park in the world after Europa Park. Tivoli is the fifth most visited theme park in Europe, behind Disneyland Park, Europa Park, Walt Disney Studios Park, and Efteling. It is located directly in downtown Copenhagen, next to the central rail station for the city.
All right, really one more point to get before we go back to the party and try to take off with everybody. There is maybe that's it over here. Frederiksborg Castle. Frederiksborg. Thinking everything around here is a Borg. Okay.
Frederiksborg Palace is a Baroque residence, located in Frederiksborg, Denmark, adjacent to the Copenhagen Zoo. It commands an impressive view over Frederiksborg Gardens, originally designed as a palace garden in the Baroque style. Constructed and extended from 1699 to 1735, the palace served as the royal family's summer residence until the mid-19th century. Since 1869, it has housed the Royal Danish Military Academy. The palace and the chapel can be visited. They contain imposing stucco work, ceiling paintings, an elegant marble bathroom with a secret access staircase, and the princess's pancake kitchen. The palace overlooks Frederiksborg Gardens, which dates back to the first palace in 1703. It was designed as a strictly symmetrical Baroque garden with waterfalls and rows of linden trees along the palace terrace.
All right. So that pretty much covers every place that is on our Bush Talk map here. And everybody's starting to gather over here. Well, let me get back into the plane.
Copenhagen approached
I've flown this for like 30 minutes before, so. Actually, I think I've flown it a lot longer. This was in Dovetail's Flight Sim World.
4016 Diamond India, November. Diamond India, November, radar contact 5 miles north of Castrop, 1,500 feet. Altimeter.
So,
Roger,
Rent-A-Cow is over here in the group somewhere. I saw him right away when I spawned in.
Also known as Benzinoan, is an artificial island off the
All right, we've already heard that. Sometime again, if I get within a mile of it, they'll play.
It is located between the Armour Hill Combined Incineration Plant and Ski Slope to the north and Armour Strand Park to the south.
Okay. It's an interesting plane. I don't like the view. I don't like this tunnel view. They're, complain about everything, but it obstructs my view, man. Yeah, it's hard to see out of this thing.
Copenhagen approach.
It's hard for me to have my spatial awareness.
Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace. Diamond Kilo India, November, Copenhagen approach. Cleared through the Charlie airspace. Cleared through Charlie airspace, Diamond India, November.
Looks like a giant sand pit for a golf course. There's no green here. This is just a giant sand pit for a golf course. You're going to have a horrible score, but you'll get a good workout. All right, now I just need to find Rent-A-Cow. He was just here. Well, here 15 minutes ago. West Willie. I wish it would put your friends in a different color. Oh, that's something to request. I didn't even think about something like that before now. I've really never done these with friends before. But yeah, now I see the need to have color coding. Like, those are just normal people. And my special people need to be in a different color. The special people. I shouldn't say my, I don't want to be possessive. My special people the special people, especially the leader, and the leader of the group should have a different color too. He is the special person. You should just be able to quickly look over and go, ah, there's the most special person, and there's all the other special people. And then there's the rest. I'm sure they're all very special people too. But they're not our special people yet. Just talking crap. High schoolish crap. All right. So as far as being at the spot where we're supposed to take off, all I needed to do was hit restart. And that'll put us right back to the flight plan. If you don't know and you want to join, go to the forums and go to official events. There's the calendar. And if you click on today's calendar for fly-in, you'll get all the information you need to join us. And you can download the flight plan. So you get to the main menu, you go through the options, you make sure that all multiplayers are on, make sure multiplayers are on. Go up to the top right-hand corner where your little, it's not, I think it's kind of like your avatar in the upper right-hand corner. You click on that, you can get a drop down that will ask you which server you want. You want the Southeast Asia server for today. You want a plane that'll do 160 knots. They recommended this one. That's why I picked it. You can do Beechcraft Baron. Anything they just want you to be able to do 160 knots to keep up with everybody. So you don't want a Cessna for this. You can't, it's going to be tough maintaining 160 knots. You may not want a jet or an airliner, which people are going to bring in anyway. But you might have a difficult time slowing down now to stay 160 knots. Falling out of the sky in your military jet. All right. So, yeah. And then go down to the very bottom of the screen where it says more from the world map and click load save, load that flight plan and hit fly. You might want to check your weather and make sure it's set to something that you enjoy. Clear. I have mine a little bit hazy. And then just hit fly. And you'll spawn in and you should be able to see everybody that's there. So let's go back. Let's go out. Everybody's sitting politely. Usually I don't like... Go to this screen. I don't like being like right on top of anybody else if they spawn in, so kind of try to make my way over towards these other special people. Now I don't see Rent-A-Cow. He may have gone off flying. There's Rent-A-Cow right there. Looks like he's in the Bonanza. So I line myself up with these fine folks. Wee! What was that noise? Control Alt print screen. This is a good time to send off a message to all of your social media. Let them bask in what you're doing. Or something like that. All right, so let me paste a picture of what's going on here. And do. Oh, you're in the DC-3. My bad. I should have known. Duh. Okay, let me hide that. No, 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 no. Is it still... No, no, no. Has it been showing this thing the whole time? Probably since I hit restart. This Bush Talk radio, if you restart and it was active... Son of a gun, you've been looking at that thing the whole time. It's always something. Namaste, 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 namaste. It is, man. It's always something stupid. Always, always, always messing up my transmissions. So... You didn't see my wonderful landing. You didn't see my wonderful parking. I told you people would be in airliners. There's Rent-A-Cow coming in for another circle or potential landing. That looks like a nice Piper there, right? I don't know. I don't know all my planes. I'm thinking that looks like a Piper. That looks like a Piper. They're all. I wonder if it's my settings for things being generic, but I see some people in red and some people in blue. But let me go back out and see if I've got like anything generic set. I tried downloading at least halfway decent resolution maps, and hopefully to take the load off so it could stream better today. Stream better to us today, but I don't know. Some of the areas still look kind of crap around here. Miscellaneous? No. Traffic? Use generic models. AI traffic. Off. Use generic aircraft models for multiplayer. Off. Yeah, I don't want generic. I want to see. Show multiplayer aircraft in close proximity. On. Traffic variety. High. Ultra. We might as well turn up on the density. I should have had the ships and ferries up all the way, considering where we're at. And we're going to be traveling over water today. So I'm going to crank the road vehicle. Well, we don't really need... I'll cut the road vehicles in half and put the power towards leisure boats and ships and ferries. Here at the airport, I've got everything maxed, but we've got all these airplanes here today. So let's take the load off. Let me take the worker density down. Ground aircraft density down and airport vehicle density down. Show traffic nameplates on. Yep. Now, sadly, I'm not going to be simulcasting the Twitch stream for Microsoft today. They've been adding in music. They have been adding in music into, well, they've always, I think, had music. But it always ends up causing a copyright infringement. So we can't even listen to them because they've got the music in the background. We can't hear the moderators. And as far as I know, there's no way to like split the audio channels or to have control over the audio channels. I know that they have multiple audio channels on Twitch, but I don't know there's a way. I don't know. I don't know anything about Twitch other than how to get there and watch a stream if I have to. So, but it is now the top of the hour. So I expect everybody's going to be starting to get in formation here and get ready to get going. It usually takes a minute or two. They're coming in. If they aren't a little bit late, they're coming in right now. I guess I could be keeping an eye on it, but I'm not even doing that. I just figured I'm going to follow everybody. If I follow everybody, I'm in good shape. More people popping in. I really need to turn down some things here. It's really kind of bogging down. The GPU's doing all right, but nobody's really moving fluidly. I think I've got things where I need it. I don't want to turn down anything else. I think we'll just suffer with propellers looking a little bit weird. Yeah, I don't want to touch anything. And before we go, one last check on my OBS statistics to make sure that we're not dropping frames or anything. So I highly encourage you, if you're not streaming, to use the links available on the forum for the event and enjoy the Microsoft folks talking and doing the, leading the, here we go, it seems. There's Rent-A-Cow. Or you're just flying over. But I'm seeing people taking off. All right. Where's my cockpit? Whoa. I don't know if they are or not. I've seen some people take off, but... And the guys that were... There's Dabo. See him occasionally. Oh, Joe Ryzen, I see him. Oh, when I do these, he must make every one. All right, so he's still down there, so they haven't left yet. That plane of yours, she is zippy. I haven't been able to overtake. Mojo Horizon still down on the runway.
Diamond India, November, leaving my airspace frequency change approved. Castrop Tower, Diamond Kilo India, November.
Come on. Get up. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Yeah. Oh.
Is type 62 1 miles north of Castrop, 700 feet.
I should have used some speed brake.
Diamond Kilo India, November, Copenhagen.
All right. Good thing about that is we can just pop right back up into the air.
Squawk 6104, Diamond India, November.
All right. Let me turn up the environment. It's awful quiet. We don't really need to hear the voices, but we do need to hear, you know, we need to hear some engines. Other aircraft would be nice. And the environment. Oh, autopilot. Autopilot, autopilot, autopilot. Autopilot, autopilot, right there. See how everybody's doing here. Yeah, they're still congregating. Up, 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 up. Don't you dare. Come on. Vision jet. Nice. Feels like a TIE fighter in here. Dr. K. Bishop. Doctor. Doctor. Do. gonna say in active pause, it doesn't pause everybody else though, does it? I wouldn't think so. See if I can see Rent-A-Cow out there. Yeah. Yeah. Good. In active pause, I'm the only one paused. I don't mess with the real world, and everybody else can still move. But just sit here for a minute and keep an eye on things. Let me grab my coffee. Daddy Plump. Iceman, Sweden, West Siest, Willie, Elk and David, Milosaurus, Chigo Air, whoa. Okay, starting to see everybody move. Yeah, so I'm suspecting they're probably taking off now. There's Rent-A-Cow. Man, that person's going straight up. Okay. I don't know who's leading. That's cool. Somebody's in an ornithopter. I don't have it loaded, so I can't really see it. All right, let's turn on the autopilot. And let's turn on nav. And we'll turn on alt hold. And we're probably 1,000 feet. Maybe. Bring up my altitude. And let's unpause and hope we don't die. Telemarketer? What are you doing calling me while I'm live streaming? Shame on you. All right, let's do a flight level change. Go up to flight level change, flight level change. There we go. All right. All right, I do have a push talk radio on if we pass any particular landmarks within 1 mile of a landmark. It will do an audio tour. Now, off we go. The first one of these I've done in months. It's oddly enough, this is where pretty much where I was ending my world tour too. I think this might be the last leg. And we were kind of doing the same route, and I hooked up with them in Spain, right when I was kind of doing Spain myself. And then I kept going with my tour, and I was over here in Sweden, Norway area. And so it was kind of neat that I decided to join this one, and this is kind of right where I was at. So it kind of, for me anyway, it kind of puts a closure on all the world tour stuff we were doing. We started out doing Alexander the Great tour, and when we started out with Germany, gliding with Henning and Hans in Germany. Then from Germany, we ended up near Macedonia. From Macedonia, got the idea to do the Alexander the Great tour. taking us across the Hellespont, all the way down along his first routes, all the way to Egypt, before going north again and then cutting south again to engage Darius in the big battles, and then sweeping into the Middle East, going to the ancient sites, then making our way all the way back from darn near India, and then going north again. So then we hit Italy. We did, all the islands. And then we hit Italy, Rome, skirted the coast, went to Spain, went around Spain, back towards Germany, The Hague, and all those places. And then, we were finally crossing north, going into these areas, these territories. And so it's nice. I'm glad, to make a long story short, I'm glad we're doing this. Because I wanted to finish it up, and I never really did put a close on it in the end of the world tour. So power creep. So your airplane has more power. The engines are bigger and they have more power. I couldn't, if you were opened up all the way, I couldn't keep up with you. I could tail you. Right now, I should be opened up too, and it feels like I'm not. Everybody's just cruising on up ahead. It's 123 knots. I don't know what I can do to get more speed out of this thing and get to 150. We're supposed to be doing 150. 160. Is it the flap thing? Yeah, we're not doing close to that at all. Still climbing too. Really, she's taking her slow ass time to climb. A long ass time to climb. Keto heat off, got it. It's got an overdrive. Gear is up. There we go. We got some speed now. 140. There's the flaps. There's our burst speed. Okay, so throttle wasn't all the way open. Good. Well, now we're redlining, showing off. Right there, buddy. Hang it right there. Stick right there. I wish we... some of these planes, after looking at some of the new planes that are coming out, it always does. Some things make me wonder, like, how do we not have these kind of commands? For example, how do I not have a button that I can push that'll just lock the speed? I want 163. Click. Lock. You've got an alt hold. We don't have speed, at least I don't. Speed holds, right? So some of the new planes that are coming out, these VTOLs, they have dial-in speed. They've got a speed specifically for taxiing, 5 knots. So you'll never overspeed on a taxi again. It's 2025 and we don't have a button on an aircraft that you can push for whatever type of plane you have and have taxi speed. Especially like the Cessnas or whatever. And those are trainers mostly, so you should learn how to operate your propeller too, you know. But taxiing can be a real drag sometimes. Sometimes the wind, you're constantly starting and stopping, and if you go too fast, somebody's going to yell at you. If you go too slow, it takes forever to get any place. But either way, I've always wondered why don't I have a button that I can push to make sure that I've got the perfect amount of power to maintain a proper taxi where nobody gets angry. $140, maybe $120. Yeah, you're holding about 140. I am now doing. I'm holding 160. And you're up ahead still. 1,928 feet. If for whatever reason you wanted to slow down maybe 10 knots for a minute and give me a chance to catch up, I don't think I can catch up to you. I can try by pushing the yellow line. So I'm going up towards 170 now. I wish I could get a readout on distance. I'm sure there's a way you can pull up your traffic in the glass cockpits here. Got to be a way to do traffic and monitor where everybody's at. $174 knots. $175. So yeah, if you could just slow down just a touch, and then we can try to get a little closer into formation. 176 knots. I'm kind of topping out at the moment. Come on, push, push, push. I am on autopilot though, for holding, to hold the course. Now I'm starting to overtake everybody. You're in the lead? I'm okay, I'm coming up on you. All right. All right. Let me start slowing down. I am intercepting. I don't want to overfly. Crap. Come on, back to 160. All right. I am back to 156. Whoa, let me slow down. Let me go back to 140. Now let me go up a little bit. You were at 1,009. Light level change. There you are. $1,922 feet. Let me slow down some more now. Come on, back to the cockpit. I don't think they're from around here, but I suddenly have an urge to listen to ABBA. We're in a Viking territory. Alright, I'm about 146. $138 knots ground speed. Let me slow down some more. 'I think that was you. Maybe everybody's right up here today. Yep. $138. There's 100. We're coming up on 120. Cullen Lighthouse. coming up below us. We might get a, maybe if it's in the, if somebody's created a bush talk for it, we'll get it. Coming up on our next waypoint, we'll be making a small turn to the right. Right. I've done it. Let me make sure the water's on ultra. Oh no, it's gonna pause. Of course it did. No, I'm gonna have to catch up again. Crap. All that for water. Right. I've watched all the Viking television shows, like the, I don't know if it was History Channel that made the first one or whatever, that Vikings television program following, Lothbrok and all his kids, and it's been pretty interesting. They've got the new Vikings out where it's like Leif Erikson and but it's interesting, man, how, ultimately they were very busy people, man. They're like, we got places to go. And they just went everywhere and killed a lot of people and took all their crap. But, yeah, that's the past, That's the past. We're still so hung up on things that took place in the past. Well, your people did this, and you guys did this, and you guys did that. We tell young people today, man, you've got to forgive yourself for everything after age 30. That you got to forgive yourself for everything, or sometimes you can just get crushed by all the stupid things you did when you're young. Got to be able to forgive yourself, but we don't ever tell that to each other as a planet. Man, we just got to get over it. You got to forgive yourself. We just got to just move on. That's the past. Stuff happened. can hear your engines. Reginald Keaton just subbed. Hey, Reginald Keaton, give me a minute here to get my speed a little closer to Rent-A-Cows. And then I will go subscribe to your channel. One moment. And he's going up to 2,000 feet. So let me do a flight level change. Slow down a little bit more. Altitude. That's thousands. We don't need thousands. Flight level change. You're up at 2125 climbing. I've got 22. Come on, flight level change. Oh, it is. All right, so back over to the chat room. Reginald Keaton. Reginald Keaton, if you would be so kind as to just type hello into the chat room. It makes it so easy for me to click on your name and go to your channel than trying to find you. And just by doing this, it won't let me go to your channel. Let me see. Go to channel. No, it takes me to the Stream Elements channel. So if you don't mind just typing a period or anything and put an emoji, a hello, anything in the chat room. You're climbing to 4,000 feet, says Rent-A-Cow. Okay, let me get back in here. 4,000 flight level change. Flight level change. Do vertical speed, nose up, nose up, nose up. Nose up. Okay, speed up. Climb, DiMaggio, climb. So if you're just tuning in, what we're doing today is we're following the Microsoft Flight Simulator community on their weekly fly-in, their Friday fly-in. By the way, they are doing Friday night flights now. And so I'm thinking about hooking up with them tonight and actually doing a Friday night flight. The wife, however, may want me to watch the Great British Baking Show with her. And so I will have to check the schedule and see if those two don't conflict. And if they don't conflict, then I'll be around for the Friday night flight. Other than that, watching baking with the wife. Oh yes, I love this stuff, honey. Oh yeah. Love it. No, I don't have any problems watching this whatsoever. And it's true. I love cooking, actually. I'm not saying I grew up in a kitchen, but I've been early on as a kid. That's all I did, is just working in kitchens. So I really do love cooking. I really do. I'm not a baker. So I don't mind watching cooking programs at all. As a matter of fact, I just watched one recently, Culinary Class Wars. It's all filmed in the same places like all the other Korean shows, probably including Squid Game. But you know, the Physical 100, it's the same studio, same announcers, almost similarly interestingly, the same kind of mentality behind the challenges. And that was really good. And we had an American Korean chef, Ed Lee. He's famous here. He ended up being, it came down to a head-to-head between Ed Lee from the United States of America and another Korean gentleman. And Ed Lee actually lost. But it doesn't, he's already got everything. He's got the whole world already. And this other guy, yeah, he's just an up and coming. That's why they call it a class warfare thing. Like the lower class trying to come up and compete against the upper class. And so it was no humongous loss that Ed Lee took. And it was such a big deal for this other gentleman to come up and now get his shot at everything, because Ed's got it all. So, and he is so cool, and I'm just glad we had a top Korean American chef there and just knocked everybody's socks off. Cool as hell. I used to watch all the Iron Chef stuff. For a while there, I kind of considered myself a little bit of an Iron Chef. Doesn't matter what you give me. Coming up too fast now. I need to slow down. Awful touchy. This is again where I wish we had dial-in controls. I don't mind using the throttle, but and you get the little pip, right? You get the little pink pip on the indicator here, which I don't have. I'm actually stabled out. But if I push it forward a little bit, you'll see the pink bar appear. There you go. That's telling you where it expects you're going to be in the next 30 seconds. Okay. So now let me pull the throttle back, and you'll see the pink bar go the other way. So there's where it expects us to be speed-wise in the next 30 seconds. And so I'm trying to get to like 149 and just hold it right there, 150. Then let me push the throttle forward again. So yeah, right there is no pink, well, a little tiny bit. See what I mean about being touchy? So now I got to pull back a tiny bit. Try to just hold 150, 152, somewhere in there. Don't want that pink bar going up much. A little more off the throttle. Oh, right there. No, now it's just, see what I mean? Touchy. Touchy, touchy. Close enough. So we're all flying through Viking territory, and let me go to my Bush Talk Radio app, and we haven't flown over any landmarks, but let me see if there are any at least nearby that we may have passed. Where's my Bush Talk Radio? All right, where am I? Where are we? All right, I see where we are on the map. All right, we're near Falkenberg. Okay, we took off down here, and we've been flying north, and we are now up here, and we have something over here to our port side.
German submarine High, the former U-2365 Type 23 U-boat of Nazi Germany's Kriegsmarine during World War II, was one of the first submarines of the Bundesmarine. She was ordered on the 20th of September 1944 and was laid down on the 6th of December 1944 at Deutsche Werft AG, Hamburg, as Yard number 519. She was launched on the 26th of January 1945 and commissioned under the command of Oberleutnant zur See Fritz Otto Kaufmann on the 2nd of March 1945. Scuttled in 1945, the boat was raised in 1956 and commissioned into the newly founded Bundesmarine's High, where she served until she sank by accident in 1966.
Okay. German submarine High. High. Coming up on this place here.
Varberg Fortress was built between 1287 and 1300 by Count Jacob Nielsen as protection against his Danish king, who had declared him an outlaw after the murder of King Erik V of Denmark. Jacob had close connections with King Erik II of Norway and as a result got substantial Norwegian assistance with the construction. The fortress, as well as half the county, became Norwegian in 1305. King Erik's granddaughter, Ingeborg, inherited the area from her father, King Haakon V of Norway. She and her husband, Erik, Duke of Sudermanland, established a semi-independent state out of their Norwegian, Swedish and Danish counties until the death of Erik. They spent considerable time at the fortress. Their son, King Magnus IV of Sweden, spent much time at the fortress as well. The fortress was augmented during the late 16th and early 17th century on order by King Christian IV of Denmark. However, after the Treaty of Bromsebro in 1645, the fortress became Swedish. It was used as a military installation until 1830 and as a prison from the end of the 17th century until 1931. It is currently used as a museum and bed and breakfast, as well as private accommodation. The moat of the fortress is said to be inhabited by a small lake monster. In August 2006, a couple of witnesses claimed to have seen the monster emerge from the dark water and devour a duck. The creature is described as brown, hairless and with a 40 centimeters long tail.
All right. Well, that's down here somewhere. We haven't quite got to it yet. So it could be that down below us or up ahead still. That's a water tower, Albert and Frida. I don't see a landmark peg on it, anything out there, but I'm kind of thinking that area out there in front of us still is it. All right, let me go back to my map. Beyond that and up on our port side, just off to our right-hand side, our starboard side, sorry. Our radio station.
Granton Radio Station in southern Sweden, close to Varberg in Halland, is an early long-wave transatlantic wireless telegraphy station built in 1922 that has been preserved as a historical site. From the 1920s through the 1940s, it was used to transmit telegram traffic by Morse code to North America and other countries, and during World War II was Sweden's only telecommunication link with the rest of the world. It is the only remaining example of an early pre-electronic radio transmitter technology called an Alexanderson alternator. It was added to the UNESCO World Heritage List in 2004, with the statement, "Granton Radio Station, Varberg is an outstanding monument representing the process of development of communication technology in the period following the First World War." The radio station is also an anchor site for the European route of industrial heritage, but the transmitter is still in operational condition, and each year on
That's insane.
day is started up and transmits brief Morse code test transmissions, which can be received all over Europe.
So the key thing I'm taking away from that is free electrical radio systems. What are they powering it with? Giant crystals? I mean, okay, maybe I just need to do a little bit more research on that. But what I'm hearing, a pre-electric radio station. Because I know that like foxhole radios, you know, World War II guys in the foxholes, that they could make a radio out of crazy crap, including not even having a battery. That's fascinating to me. That with or without electricity, you can still do radio. That's nuts. All right, let me look for something else. I could be totally wrong about that and just hearing that wrong. But let me open the text back up. Oh, I guess not. Okay, coming up in front of us, gonna be just right off our nose to the left a tiny bit. Right on the shore. Let's see. Yeah, right on the north. This little landmass that we're getting ready to pass over into the water, it's right down there on the shore somewhere. It says there's a nuclear power plant.
There's a nuclear power plant in Sweden.
That's got to be it then.
In Varberg municipality, approximately 65 kilometers south of Gothenburg. With a total power rating of 3,055 MW, it is the largest power plant in Sweden and generates 23 TWh of electricity a year, the equivalent of 15% of the electrical power usage of Sweden. It is owned 70% by Vattenfall and 30% by Uniper SE. The plant has 3 operating reactors, 1 boiling water reactor and 2 pressurized water reactors. A third pressurized water reactor, R2, was permanently shut down in 2019.
Or R2? Over to our port side, one of these tiny islands, that one right there, I'm assuming, maybe that. It's either that or that. Hard to tell. But there's a marker on it, so let me click that, and
Nidingen is a Swedish Kattegat Sea area skerry with a lighthouse station. It is located in Onsala parish in Kungsbacka municipality in the province of Halland. The island has with its surrounding reefs always posed a danger to shipping. The 3 lighthouses on the island, one of which is active, is today protected as heritage buildings. The island is also a nature reserve with a birding station and hostel, famous for large populations of different bird species. The province of Halland and Nidingen was ruled by Denmark until the Second Treaty of Bromsebro 1645.
Well, that's probably it, and they don't have the towers on it. They're not marked in Flight Simulator. Okay. Coming up in this area over here, down in this cove area somewhere. No, a little bit further up. Let's see. Somewhere more in the next little curve. So not down here below us, but in the next area. Up in here. In here. We've got a marker.
The Jolleholm estate was bought in 1892 by James
Castle
Dixon. He was the son of James Jameson Dixon, founder of the Swedish shipping company, James Dixon and Company. James Frederick Dixon was married to his cousin with wife Cecilia Blanche Charlotte Dixon. After Blanche Dixon died in 1906, the castle was inherited by their daughter Blanche Bongy, wife of Count Carl Bongy equals. The manor house and surrounding acreage were purchased in 1964 by the city of Gothenburg for use as a recreational reserve. From 1968 to 1973, renovations of the property and buildings were carried out. In 1971, parts of the castle were open to visitors. In 1987, Jolleholm was purchased by Kungsbacka municipality and the foundation Vastkuststiftelsен. In 1991, the property was transferred to the foundation Stiftelsen Jolleholm, which has Kungsbacka municipality as its principal. In 1991, it became a registered historic building.
And it's down there, and all this land is down there somewhere, right there. Okay, okay, north of here. And across. On the other side, on one of these, on the shore, I'm looking in the general direction all the way on the other side. Coming up on this.
Saro Vastaskog is a nature reserve located in Kungsbacka municipality, Sweden, on a peninsula west of the locality of Saro. It was established in 1974 and is currently part of the Natura 2000 ecological network. The reserve has an area of 55 hectares. It is mostly covered with forest, but there are also pastures and beaches, as well as graves from the Nordic Bronze Age. The most common trees are oak and pine, some of which are 200 to 300 years old. In 1914, a pine tree with 480 growth rings was found, probably the oldest known pine in Halland. Furthermore, the reserve houses the largest population of the common yew in Sweden. 55 species in the Yukon Red List have been found in the reserve, including many lichens and beetles.
That's nice. Okay. Yeah, and that's, it's in here somewhere. One of these 3 major peninsulas with all this little stuff around it. Scan ahead. Okay, we have a big city coming up in a few minutes as I look north. Yeah, everybody's starting to pass over it right now. Man, where's my plane at? Oh well, we're still with the pack. The big city coming up is Göteborg. Here we go.
Alivi, sometimes known as Nya Alivi, is a multi-purpose stadium in Gothenburg,
Oh,
Sweden. It was built.
That's the stadium.
1958.
No. Where's the town? They don't have anything for the town? All they're highlighting in this giant town is the stadium? Okay, well, all right, then.
Alivi, sometimes known as Nya Alivi, is a multi-purpose stadium in Gothenburg, Sweden. It was built for the 1958 FIFA World Cup. IFK Göteborg has also played 2 UEFA Cup finals at the stadium, in 1982 and 1987, but then as home game in a home and away final. The stadium hosted several events, including football, ice hockey, boxing, racing, athletics and concerts. The stadium is one of the biggest in the Nordic countries, with a seating capacity of 43,000 and a total capacity of 75,000 for concerts. Alivi nearly collapsed during a Bruce Springsteen concert on the 8th of June 1985 due to the rhythmic movement of tens of thousands of people in the audience and the clay soil on which the stadium is built. The concert also caused nearly £3 million in damages.
That can't be. That looks so small.
Spider Tour in June 1987 was relocated from Alivi to Eriksberg because of fears about the safety of the structure. Since then,
Gotta be.
the concrete pillars supporting the stadium have been extended down to the bedrock. Springsteen has performed at the stadium on subsequent tours.
An awful big place. Got my map. Man, I'm not even there yet. And it's at the north end. Yeah, I'm falling way behind. Oh no, it just seems that way. It's just where my drone's at. So the stadium's north, on the north side of the city. So, yeah, we haven't even come up on it yet. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed you. Follow me in the descent around 400 feet per minute. Expect 4-mile final for runway 01. It's a touch and go. Let me get back in the cockpit and look at what's going on. Sorry, I was... Are people going to an airport around here? Or did I already miss it? Did everybody already do their touch and go? Go. Hey, I gotta go. Oh well. The stadium should be around here. Over there. It's saying it's over here somewhere. That's probably, that could be. That doesn't look like it. That looks like a track. That looks like stadium. Yep. Yep, that's it right there. Ah, David Bowie, man. And Springsteen. I don't really care about Springsteen anymore. Bowie never really did anything to make me dislike him. Okay, so I see there's an airport coming up. Let me try to catch up. I was doing all that stuff and missed you, but let me turn off the autopilot and we'll do a touch and go here. Oh boy, it's right down there. Trying to do an S, couple S's to try to slow down. Give myself a moment to come down a little bit. Oh yeah. Do a little crabbing. So full rudder while keeping my nose pointing towards the runway. Trying to get my tail come around.
Hisingen is the fifth largest island of Sweden, with an area of 199 square kilometers. It is a river island, formed by the split of the Gotthard Olvet Bord.
Up if I put down my gear.
To the east and south by the main arm of that river, to the north by the smaller arm, and to the west by the Kattegat. The southern part of Hisingen is extensively urbanized, representing the northern suburbs of the city of Gothenburg. The island is divided between the historical provinces of Västergötland and Bohuslän, but lies entirely within the modern county of Västra Götaland. The population of the island is around 130,000, making it the most populous island in Sweden, ahead of Södermalm and Gotland. For a brief, post-war period, Hisingen was home to the largest shipbuilding center in the world, but all 3 yards closed in 1979. Hisingen is home to both the Volvo Group and the now separate Volvo Cars. The Volvo Group is a Swedish multinational manufacturing corporation headquartered in Gothenburg. While its core activity is the production,
All right.
distribution,
Going back up to 4,000 feet, re-engaging in the autopilot flight level change.
supplies marine and industrial drive systems and financial services. In 2016, it was the world's second largest manufacturer of heavy-duty trucks with its subsidiary Volvo Trucks. Volvo Cars is a Swedish multinational manufacturer of luxury vehicles headquartered in Torslanda, Gothenburg. The company manufactures SUVs, station wagons, and sedans. The company's main marketing arguments are safety and its Swedish heritage and design.
That's really cool. So, home of Volvo. That's pretty cool. What are you doing, plane? Do not get my nav. GPS. What are you doing? It's turning around. It's not following my It's not following the course. Still doing the flight level change. Come on, man. Don't make me turn you around manually. Alright, I am. Oh, and then you go the other way. You're a trip. Go, little plane. Come on. We got places to go. So somebody said a neat little trick to try to intercept is you draw a line from your plane up to the tip of the purple bar that you're trying to intercept. It's like if you're guessing, well, where do I fly in here to intercept this best? He's like, just draw a line up to there and then put your header there. Okay, we're starting to close in on it now. Right now, let me see if this darn thing will take the appropriate autopilot command and go to nav mode. Bring our gear up, sorry. Our flaps are up. No. It's flying off course. There it goes. Silly thing. Taking all of our time away from looking at all the beautiful scenery. This is lovely. By the way. What are you doing, plane? There you go. All right, good plan. All right. So we're back down to cruise. Okay. Let me look at my map. Where are we? Okay. There's nothing pinned out here to do a tour in. Way over off our port side is Kattegat.
The Kattegat is a 30,000 square kilometers sea area bounded by the Jutlandic Peninsula in the west, the Danish Straits Islands of Denmark to the south, and the provinces of Västergötland, Skåne, Halland and Bohuslän in Sweden in the east. The Baltic Sea drains into the Kattegat through the Danish Straits. The sea area is a continuation of the Skærgård and may be seen as a bay of the Baltic Sea or the North Sea, or, as in traditional Scandinavian usage, neither of these. The Kattegat is a rather shallow sea and can be very difficult and dangerous to navigate because of the many sandy and stony reefs and tricky currents, which often shift. In modern times, artificial seabed channels have been dug, many reefs have been dredged by either sand pumping or stone fishing, and a well-developed light signaling network has been installed to safeguard the very heavy international traffic of this small sea. There are several large cities and major ports in the Kattegat, including Gothenburg, Aarhus, Aalborg, Halmstad, and Frederikshavn, mentioned by descending size.
Okay. Coming up in front of us here, it's going to be right out here. Could be this bridge. Yep.
The Tjörn Bridge is a cable-stayed bridge which, together with two smaller bridges, connects Stenungsund on mainland Sweden with the island Tjörn on the western coast of the country. The length is 664 meters, the span width is 366 meters, and the height above the water is 45.7 meters.
They're all trying to fly underneath it.
In 1981, the bridge was built in record time after its predecessor, the Almo Bridge, which was inaugurated in June 1960.
Code nuts.
After the bulk carrier MS Star Clipper collided with its span at 1:30 a.m. on the 18th of January 1980 in fog and darkness. 8 people died in 7 vehicles that plunged into the sea before the bridge was closed.
Everybody wants to go going underneath it. Check and make sure we're still on course. We're on course, holding 149 knots. And next thing on my map, easy. Next thing on my map, like a horse. Settle down, easy. It doesn't look like we're heading to it, towards it. It's going to be to our left a little bit. It's another big city. But I think our vector is going to take us this point. Chop, chop, chop. A moment. Calculating some distances here in my mind. Yeah, we might pass it. But let me go ahead and play it. Or whatever's there. They're highlighting another bridge up ahead.
The Uddevalla Bridge is a cable-stayed bridge crossing Sound near Uddevalla in the province of Bohuslän on the west coast of Sweden. Construction of the bridge began in 1996 and was opened to traffic in May 2000. The bridge was constructed as part of the rerouting of the European Route E6 outside Uddevalla, which reduced traffic congestion in the city and shortened traveling distance by 12.8 kilometers. There is a problem with ice sticking to the cables in the winter, which can fall onto cars. The bridge has to be closed a few times per year for this reason.
That's it up ahead there on the map. That's me. They actually do. It's called Bush Talk Radio, and you're like, well, why do they call it radio? Well, we get these audio tours, but literally, it has radio stations. Now, I could play a little bit, but it's probably going to cause a copyright problem. But you can tune into radio stations all over the world when you're traveling with this tool. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. I'm going to go ahead and risk. I'll have to just chop it out, but... Oh, come on, find me a radio station. Tune to nearby radio station. NRK Jazz.
Men förklarat på ett sätt som de kan greppa och som tilltalar dem.
So yeah, those are all the nearby radio stations. I like it. Just can't use it when I'm streaming. Just so sad. Maybe one of these days they will relax all those rules and it'll be a wonderful world when they stop caring about that. The computers handle it all. Here, copyright this and put the credits on this and share some of your monetization with them and do this, and it'll be great when the computer can handle all that and we don't have to worry about this crap anymore. The threats, we're gonna shut your account down. Come on, man. Can't you just share some of the monetization with them and make them happy somehow? Can't we all just get along for the betterment of mankind? Okay. I do like this too. Again, you can zoom down. I think if you can change the map. Kind of nice. You get streets and roads and didn't get anything of that one. It toned it all right. Not very clean on the open street maps, but cool. I mean, you can still see the titles. We don't have any, that'd be nice. Oh, they do give you readings on the topo here. That's nice. Got a caution light in the cockpit. Hovlanda. You ever have one of those feelings that you would get along terribly great with all the people at a certain place? I think I would get along with people here. It's just something in my soul. Like, man, I look down at the map and I'm like, I could hang out with these people. Could be I'm just influenced by the Viking show. Okay, let's get our camera drone back into position. There we are. Oh, let me get back to MSFS. There's Seedy. He's the one usually leading. Oh, we're off. Let me turn the camera around and look that way. I think he's usually one of the guys that's leading the Microsoft that leads these tours. And there he is. And there he goes. And there's that bridge we were talking about. That's cool. I don't see anybody trying to fly under that one. There's CD back there again. Yeah, he's usually the one doing most of the talking on these things. It looks like he's popping around. See what I mean? Like rubber banding. Now he's back there. He can teleport. Are we doing a turn? No, we're on track. I'm gonna bring us down though. There's so much nice things to see down there, and we're up just a little high. I'm gonna bring us back down to like 2,000 feet. They want a pitot heat on. Doesn't seem that cold, but what do I know? Where's the oat? (9°C). Yeah, I guess we should find the pitot heat. There we go. Right fuel and left fuel low. Not anymore. Magic. All right, good. Warnings are taken care of. Coming down to 2,000 feet. Low feels too high. Coming back down to like 1.715. Oh, I just can't wait for those aircraft that they've been showing off. The Archer. The Jetson, the Joby, and the Archer. The 3 vertical takeoff and landing aircraft that are coming. Well, one of them's a hybrid. The Jetson is an individual one-seater plane that looks like you're flying a land speeder from Star Wars. It's that thing. The Joby is a vertical takeoff and landing 2 to 4-seater. And then the Archer is like the minivan. of the vertical takeoff and landing planes, but you can also use that one like a plane. You can land or take off like a plane if you want. You can use the vertical takeoff and landing stuff. But the thing that sets these completely apart from everything we've seen technologically so far, it's more like the F-35B. So you do have your vertical takeoff and landing stuff with just the flick of a switch, and then it'll transition like an Osprey, but it has super precise throttle controls, meaning you can dial in the speed you want and lock it there. It has super precise controls, and it doesn't really have an autopilot in the traditional sense. The Archer does, but it's got new built-in calculation systems. So if you tell it, I want to go to the helipad over here and land, it'll start calculating like an ILS from where you're at to where that pad's at, and start calculating all the G-forces. It doesn't do it by elevation. It does it by G-forces because they want to keep you and the passengers feeling nothing. So that's what it's doing. It's calculating to the point where you get right before the landing spot, and then it just brings you right there and stops, and then allows you to go through your landing procedure. It's got built-in soft landing technology. Hey, who turned out the lights? You're adding some drama into the equation. Doesn't matter. I like it hazy. You're the group leader, so Rent-A-Cow is the group leader, so he has control of the weather. All right, so soft landing technology, a new type of autopilot, sort of. Where you point it, it will go. It's amazing. You want to stay at a precise altitude, want to stay at a precise speed. Okay. It's so easy. Somebody with any flying experience will be able to do it in 5 minutes. In 15 minutes, I think you can get a grasp on all of the systems. Anything after 15 minutes, you've aced it, because you've already got aviation knowledge. Now, for the average person who has no aviation knowledge, I bet they could pick it up in 15 minutes. But their survivability, if they don't really mess with it, if they just do what they're told, if they just fly it.
Scandinavia is an Iron Age grave field located about 1 kilometer southwest of Hällevadsson, Munkedal Municipality, Västra Götaland County, Sweden. The area contains about 45 graves, a stone circle, a stone ship, and a row of menhirs. Originally, there were 11 or 12 menhirs at the site. Today, there are 9. The tallest one is 3.3 meters, the shortest, 1.4 meters. They are placed in a row, according to their heights. In 1980, Swedish astronomer Kurt Rosland suggested that they form an astronomical calendar, similar to Stonehenge in England.
A little too small for us to see, I think, but that's very cool. Very, very cool. Let me look on my map. Where was that in relation to us? Oh yeah, we passed it. So we were already flying over it. We don't have anything on the map for 10 miles or more. And it's going to be something on the coast. It is going to be grave field, Iron Age grave field in western Sweden. Very similar to the one I guess we just passed overhead. I don't think our course is going to take us over it, so let me go ahead and just play the audio tour.
The Greby Grave Field is an Iron Age grave field in western Sweden. It is located north of Grebbestad, Tanum Municipality in Västra Götaland County. With its 220 graves, It is the largest site of this kind in Bohuslän. In June 1873, Swedish archaeologist and cultural historian Oskar Montelius examined 11 of the graves. The grave inventory included glass pearls, bone combs and other everyday objects, dating to the time of migration. Similar artifacts have been found in a number of other places in Sweden as well as in Norway, Germany and England. Newer findings indicate that Greby might have been an ancient trading site.
I think if there was Vikings living on a shoreline, it's a trading site. Okay. No, I wanted you to go down. That level change. Better. I'm gonna need a hotkey, a reset on this drone. Me Hama Blend. Interesting title. Bet you there's some good fishing. More lake monsters that eat ducks. Those darn lake monsters. How scary. It ate a duck. Ooh. Let's not go near that thing. I'd eat a duck. I like them. I like ducks. We have supermarkets, so I don't eat them. These days. I've eaten duck before, but I'm not starving anymore, and we have supermarkets. My GPU is so much happier operating at this level. I'm sorry I'm not doing 4K, but I mean, in a weird way I am. I mean, I'm doing 4K, but it's using DLSS super resolution to bring down the render. And then I'm outputting that, the final render size through OBS to YouTube. So my desktop is 3840 by 2160 4K UHD. But when the NVIDIA DLSS super resolution hits it, it drops the render down to like 2000 something by blah, blah, blah. And so in OBS, I set the canvas size and the output to the render that NVIDIA is giving us, which allows me to take a load off the computer, take a load off the encoder, and stream it, you know, kind of a sweet spot between graphics performance. Anyway, I'm looking at the stats, which you can't see. It's an NVIDIA overlay. But all through the alpha weekend, my GPU was running 98%, and I was warming this room up. Fans moving like crazy. But doing this flight right here, the GPU is sitting at 48%, and the CPU is sitting at 21%. I don't know where we've lost 30 frames, though. I mean, I know I bumped some things up in the texture area, but I've lowered some things. So we're still... Last night we were doing 60 with no problem. It could just be the environment. I'm not really certain. But something is eating a bunch of frames at the moment. And it could just be everybody in the sky. You know, we're doing a community thing. I don't really want to go mucking about looking for the culprit and try to get 20 frames back. It's not that big of a deal. We're at 42 now. And our GPU will get as high as 52, 53% on a spike. But that's it. So I'm not dramatically shortening the lifespan of this computer by running it balls to the wall for 4K for everything, for every stream. We need it for something. When we get to 2024, yeah, I'm going to be doing it more. Right now, there aren't things in the environment like the trees and other things that fully leverage the video card anyway. Pardon me. And so, no need to do it. Hopefully the picture looks fantastic on your side. And I'm curious, I need to put up a poll, or I'll just ask you, is anybody using a 4K monitor? I'm trying to find statistics to see what part of the YouTube subscriber base, this is millions and millions and millions of people, but what is the average on, like, how many the viewers? Are they using 4K monitors, or most people still using their phone, or are they using, you know, smaller monitors? I would love to get the kind of general idea of percentage wise. If not, you know, it's like I'm broadcasting for that one person who really has it in is watching in 4K. Look at that. That's nice. And we had all those markings there for a minute too. LP Speedy. Yeah, when he flew underneath us, we could read all the stuff and see his logos clearly. Hot rod. Oh, it changes. We either get the texture or we don't. Hot rod. It's like if I zoom in too much, I lose it. I'm not sure what's going on. I can't track him. You see what I mean? Let me check my map, see if there's anything interesting around. That's where we're at. So coming up in front, directly in front of us, is Halden, city of Halden, and there's a fortress.
In the city of Halden in Norway. The first fortifications in the bordered town of Halden appeared in 1643-45 and consists of a small artillery timber blockhouse on the site of the present citadel and a wooden palisade to the south of it obstructing the valley road of the city. It was constructed by Denmark-Norway in the 17th century as a replacement for the border fortress at Bohus, which had been lost when the province of Bohuslän was ceded to Sweden by the terms of the Treaty of Roskilde in 1658. The fortress was named after King Frederick III of Denmark and Norway, and the town of Halden was also originally named after him, having been known as Fredrikskjold between 1665 and 1928. In 1658, citizens and the surrounding peasants together defended their native land from 1,500 Swedish troops from nearby Bohuslän. It became clear that the city had an important strategic position. 3 subsequent attacks by the Swedes on Halden in 1658 to 1660 convinced Frederick III that a strong, modern fortress was needed. The existing star-shaped fortress complex was upgraded during the period of peace between 1661 to 1675. In 1673, Denmark dispatched Ulrik Frederick Jardenlov, a
That's too bad we're not heading that direction now. We're heading over to this thing.
The Svinesund Bridge is a through-arch bridge crossing Idefjord at Svinesund and joining Sweden and Norway. Svinesund is a sound separating the Swedish municipality of Strömstad from the Norwegian municipality of Halden, and thus it is the border between Norway and Sweden in this region. The bridge is the westernmost border crossing between the two countries and carries the European Route E6, which is a major traffic route in the area, connecting Oslo and the rest of Norway with Gothenburg, Malmö, Copenhagen and the rest of Europe.
There it is.
This is a vital link between Norway and Sweden. This elegant span, with its handsome profile stretching 67 meters above the Rindals Fjord, is Northern Europe's highest bridge. The Svinesund Bridge was opened with great ceremony on the 15th of June.
Somebody landed on it.
By the Norwegian king and the Swedish crown prince.
He slew in.
Has increased over the years, and at the end of last century it was decided to build a new highway and bridge between Norway and Sweden. June 10, 2000.
An airliner.
Opened between those two countries.
That's crazy. All right. So nothing till Sarpsborg. And I don't know if we're going to be turning. Let me look in the cockpit. No, we're going forward. So we might intercept Sarpsborg. In which case, wait, play it.
Sarpefossen or Sarpsfossen is a waterfall at Sarpsborg in Viken, Norway. This is the last waterfall on the Glomma River, which is the longest river in Norway. Sarp Falls has one of the greatest flow of any waterfall in Europe. Both Rhine Falls and Dettifoss are larger and more powerful waterfalls in Europe, but while those waterfalls have between 200 and 500 cubic meters per second of average water flow, Sarp Falls has approximately 577 cubic meters per second. Just above Sarp Falls is a road bridge with a viewpoint. There are also viewpoints on the east side of the falls. Sarpebølgen, or the Sarp Wave, lies about 2 to 3 kilometers downstream from the Sarp Falls and is popular among kayakers and experienced surfers. The Norwegian Cup in freestyle paddling has been arranged here. The wave is spectacular, since it is quite big in regards to river surfing. Experienced surfers have warned beginners from trying the wave, since there are strong currents, which means one can easily be dragged far downstream. The wave appears when the flow rate is above 800 to 900 cubic meters per second. It is said that the wave is well suited for surfing on a surfboard at a flow rate from 1250 cubic meters per second and up, and very well around 1,700 cubic meters per second. Glommens og Largens Brukserfaring provide freely available flow measurements of the river flow online.
And I believe they're talking about, again, still a body of water up ahead. Yeah, because here's us. And I was doing this pin up here. Over here, we're not going to pass these two items over here on our port side, but let's... We got another fort. A fort and a fortress. What's the difference between a fort and a fortress?
Fredrikstad Fortress is a fortress in Fredrikstad, Østfold. It was built in 1663 to 1666 by the engineering officer Willem Coucheron after the approval of King Frederick III. The main fortress is a bastion fortress with moats around the then Fredrikstad city, now referred to as the Old Town.
We got somebody close by.
The fortress also belongs various outdoor works, Isegren, Kongston Fort, Akerøy Fort, Huth Fort and Slevik Battery. In addition, there were several simple battery positions that there are now no traces of. Within the ramparts are a number of military and civilian houses. Military buildings such as the Provad Magazine, Slavery, Laboratory, Cloth House, Infantry, and Artillery Barracks, Artillery Workshop and Commander's Residence. Both the fortress and the building stock are little changed and appear authentic and complete, as one of the best preserved bastion fortresses in Northern Europe. The first commander was appointed on the 6th of January 1662. It was Lieutenant Colonel Johan Eberhard Specken. Besides the garrison itself, from the 1730s to around the middle of the 19th century, slavery was under its commander. In 1716, the fortress was Tordenskjolds base during operations on the west coast of Sweden. The same year, Sweden invaded, and when Swedish riders from Karl Morner's army unit were seen outside the fortress, Commander Wilster shot the barns on the city fields on fire and also set fire to the settlement at Vaterland. The only time the fortress was actually in battle was when Sweden invaded Norway in 1814. Swedish forces and artillery were landed on the southern tip of Krakerøy. The artillery was advanced to a hill on Krakerøy which was later named Svenskberget, a name that is still on the city map.
Okay.
From here, the southern part of the fortress town was shelled. The position was untenable, the fortress was completely open to enemy fire and the firing could result in significant...
Okay, I have to pause. Or just stop. We're in the vicinity of that waterfall she's talking about.
Sarpefossen or Sarpsfossen is a waterfall at Sarpsborg in Viken, Norway. This is the last waterfall on the Glomma River, which is the longest river in Norway. Sarp Falls has one of the greatest flow of any waterfall in Europe. Both Rhine Falls and Dettifoss are larger and more powerful waterfalls in Europe, but, while those waterfalls have between 200 and 500 cubic meters per second of average water flow, Sarp Falls has approximately 577 cubic meters per second. Just above Sarp Falls is a road bridge with a viewpoint. There are also viewpoints on the east side of the falls. Sarpebølgen, or the Sarp Wave, lies about 2 to 3 kilometers downstream from the Sarp Falls, and is popular among kayakers and experienced surfers. The Norwegian Cup in freestyle paddling has been arranged here. The wave is spectacular, since it is quite big in regards to river surfing. Experienced surfers have warned beginners from trying the wave, since there are strong currents which means one can easily be dragged far downstream. The wave appears when the flow rate is above 800 to 900 cubic meters per second. It is said that the wave is well suited for surfing on a surfboard at a flow rate from 1250 cubic meters per second and up, and very well around 1,700 cubic meters per second. Glommens og Largens Brukserfaring provide freely available flow measurements of the river flow online.
Pretty wild. Okay. If there's anything. Do. If we just keep going, then nothing for a while. There is on the coast over there, smaller arm of the Osfjord between the, I can't pronounce these names. I'm skipping that one. Vestby Station would be next on our way. And it says that it's a railway station on the Osfjord line located in the village of Vestby, Norway. And if we do pass it, it's going to have some like orange little, the standard train station, but like old school, more like the old building next to the railroad tracks. It's not a big station. It looks like a classic. Beyond that, keep going forward, we're going to have another fortress, Oscarborg Fortress. Here we are. So, following this course, we don't turn. What I'm talking about is there's Vestby up ahead. There's the Oscarborg Fortress. Sinking of German cruiser Blücher. Bunnefjorden. Can't pronounce that one. An abbey. Another opera house. Intility Arena. Come on, pin. 2011 Norway attacks. I don't know anything about that. So this is Oslo. We're at our destination. Royal Palace in Oslo. Man, the camera's looking a little, maybe just a little too close to the ground right now. Get back in the cockpit. Now we're all right. You can kind of hear it, not really. You probably, actually, it's probably so low you probably can't hear it, but I'm hearing birds. I turned down the engines. I didn't want to hear the engines anymore when I'm trying to listen to the lady talk. But if I put back the environment all the way, cruising this low. Okay, so today it's Friday. I am going to check schedules and see about doing the Microsoft Friday night flight. So I'm going to be looking into that after this. And between now and then, I'm not sure what I'm doing. I might do some more live streaming. I might go do some housework. I don't know. But last night I got back into I'm trying to get back into the habit of doing night flights. And so last night I got into the A320 and did 2 small flights and not the best landings. Definitely need some more practice. Remembering how to do everything. Doing a missed approach, not by choice. And Yeah, so I'd really the reason why I wasn't doing them for a long time is they're not fun to live stream because you're night flying. There's nothing to see unless you add some atmospherics, add some rain, and add some lightning, and make it a little bit spooky. It's really boring, I think, doing night flights, but I need to keep my hours up. I don't have to, but I don't like being rusty. I'm going to start doing some more of those. There was two big developer live streams this week that if you haven't seen them, I really recommend you do. If you have any questions about 2024, especially after the alpha weekend, well, what about this and that looked crap, and where's this and where's that? The global meeting where they're showing off 2024, Jorg and all the other developers are showing off what's coming. It's pretty fantastic. But they did one a day before with a third-party developer showing off their 3 VTOLs that I was talking about. The Jetson, the Joby, and the Archer. The Jetson being the individual personal VTOL like the land speeder in Star Wars. The Joby is a 4-person light VTOL. And then the Archer is like your Cadillac or your grandma's giant minivan version of a hybrid VTOL. You can use it like an aircraft. Or like a helicopter, whatever you want. And do the, anyway, these 3 aircraft are real. They are being certified. I heard there's a gentleman that's a live streamer, Popcorn, Mr. Popcorn, or forgive me. He said that the Archer is being certified right now as a taxi service out in California. And you're going to be blown away with how seemingly simple at the moment, how seemingly simple these controls are, allowing somebody really with no experience, if you had to, in an emergency, grandma, please, you've got to take us across town. Oh my God. You want me to try to fly you guys across town? Yeah, Grandma. It's so simple that it will be probably fictionalized in a television show coming soon. That exact situation. But Grandma, you have to. And, Grandma gets in and it's really, 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 really simple. The Volo's like that. The only thing about the Volo is they don't. They also said they're going to have buttons in them that allow you to override the battery life and keep it perpetually filled. That's the only downside, at least to the first 2, the Jetson and the Joby. Not a lot of lifespan, and everybody's fat these days. And so, not a lot of lifespan. They really make it sound good, but then you realize they're talking about like 4 people that weigh 170 pounds. And then people have stuff, but nobody weighs 170 pounds anymore. Maybe you mutants. That's just not the average American anymore. So you get yourself for 20 minutes worth of flight, or you get you and your 4 fat friends and you get about 5 minutes. That's my prediction. So same with the Archer too. I mean, even though it's going to be like the minivan, it's going to have the power and it can do a longer cruise. Same kind of thing. You know, ideally in a world of small people. So if you're blessed at being a small person and your whole family, everybody, you're all tiny. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You're all hobbits or hobbit-like. So you and your whole clan, man, like 300 pounds. You're going to love something like that. But the bigger picture here, is the technology, the soft landing technology, the dial in your speed controls, the dial in your altitude controls. It's built in autopilot-like features that make precise flying absolutely possible. It's advanced calculating your landing and where you're going, your touchdown zone. Touchscreen GPS. I'm sure that they're going to have a model you can just talk to soon. Absolutely, it's coming. I've heard about voice-driven avionics already, and I've been hearing about voice-driven avionics for 10 years. So that's absolutely coming on top of everything else. So, wow. I hope everybody lives a fruitful life and gets the comfort of seeing, like, with the next 20, 40, or even more years is going to bring to us. I remember, like, in, like, 2020, not 2020, like 1999 or 2000, somewhere in there, one of the Bush guys was president. And he says there's going to be more change in the next 200 years than there has been in the last 2,000 years. And we're just a fraction of the way there now, and it's already, everything's speeding up. Where we've come gaming wise, just for this here in the last I don't know, 10 years. Pretty big leaping. Wow, it's a neat looking place. Look at those buildings built right into the, seemingly built into the surface of the earth there. Nice. Nice when they do stuff like that. There's a nice playing field. A couple of them. You know another reason why I think I would like living around here? Herring. Something I didn't know I even loved. Somebody's like, have you ever had herring? No. No pickled herring? No herring and wine sauce? No herring and cream sauce? Nope. Well, open up and try some of this stuff. Holy crap, man. What is that? That's herring. Let me try it in the wine sauce. Holy crap, man. This is great. Where's this been hiding my whole life? Other than in a, it's not even been hiding. It's been plain facing like the Swedish Chef. The Muppet Show. Probably where I learned about herring. It's quite tasty. All right, let's get back to the cockpit. Let's find out where we're at. We still have a ways to go, according to that line on that side. Herring. Ray Gaussman. Just looks like any other highway in America. Like those guys were getting in a car wreck down there. I think it's a little too quiet now. They did talk a lot about, they're calling it the digital twin, our Sim Earth here, the Microsoft Sim Earth. They're just now, their name, they're calling it the digital twin when they refer to it. All the people involved with Microsoft Flight Simulator, all the hundreds of people that are involved. Oh, Opera House.
National Opera and Ballet and the National Opera Theatre in Norway. The building is situated in the Bjørvika neighborhood of central Oslo, at the head of the Oslo fjord. It is operated by Statsbygg, the government agency which manages property for the Norwegian government. The structure contains 1,100 rooms in a total area of 49,000 square meters. The main auditorium seats 1,364 and two other performance spaces can seat 200 and 400. The main stage is 16 meters wide and 40 meters deep. The angled exterior surfaces of the building are covered with marble from Carrara, Italy and white granite and make it appear to rise from the water. It is the largest cultural building constructed in Norway since Nidarosdomen was completed circa 1300.
All right, well, they talk about it because the marble and whatever, that's very expensive, by the way. I don't understand why they need 1,000 rooms on an opera house. Why do you need 1,000 rooms? What are you guys doing in those rooms? And then this stuff looking like it's coming out of the water, all I can think of is rolling down this thing in something and going into the water. I wish they would have turned it the other way so you could, you know, who can go down this thing the fastest and get over to that side the fastest. So there's a lot of missed opportunity here. That's all I'm saying.
The Royal Palace in Oslo was built in the first half of the 19th century as the Norwegian residence of the French-born King Charles III John of Norway, who reigned as King of Norway and Sweden. The palace is the official residence of the current Norwegian monarch while the Crown Prince resides at Skogum in Asker west of Oslo. The palace is located at the end of Karl Johans Gate in central Oslo and is surrounded by the Palace Park with the Palace Square in the front. Charles John chose the site for the permanent royal palace on the western side of Christiania in 1821 and commissioned the officer and inexperienced architect, Danish-born Hans Lindstow, to design the building.
Bumping up against the horse's head. Ready. That's nice. We're stopping for a snack today. Heck yeah. Having a little snack here in our royal courtyard. Ah, the shenanigans that have probably taken place here. Historic shenanigans.
Frogner Park is a public park located in the West End borough of Frogner in Oslo, Norway. The park is historically part of Frogner Manor, and the manor house is located in the south of the park, and houses Oslo Museum. Both the park, the entire borough of Frogner as well as Frognerseteren derive their names from Frogner Manor. Frogner Park contains, in its present centre, the Vigeland installation, a permanent sculpture installation created by Gustav Vigeland between 1924 and 1943. It consists of sculptures as well as larger structures such as bridges and fountains. The installation is not a separate park, but the name of the sculptures within the larger Frogner Park. Informally, the Vigeland installation is sometimes called Vigeland Park or Vigeland Sculpture Park. The director of Oslo Museum Lars Rodi said Vigeland Park doesn't really exist and is the name of the tourists, as opposed to Oslo natives' more down-to-earth name, Frogner Park. The park of Frogner Manor was historically smaller and centered on the manor house, and was landscaped as a Baroque park in the 18th century by its owner, the later General Hans Jacob Schiele. It was landscaped as a romantic park in the 19th century by then owner, industrialist Benjamin Wegner. Large parts of the estate were sold to give room for city expansion in the 19th century, and the remaining estate was bought by Christiania municipality in 1896 and made into a public park. It was the site of the 1914 Jubilee exhibition, and Vigeland's sculpture arrangement was constructed from the 1920s. In addition to the sculpture park, the manor house and a nearby pavilion, the park also contains Frogner Badet and Frogner Stadium. The Frogner Pond is found in the center of the park. Frogner Park is the largest park in the city and covers 45 hectares. The sculpture installation is the world's largest sculpture park made by a single artist. Frogner Park is the most popular tourist attraction in Norway, with between 1 and 2 million visitors each year, and is open to the public at all times. Frogner Park and the Vigeland installation was protected under the Heritage Act on the 13th of February 2009 as the first park in Norway.
That was really interesting. All right, what's going on autopilot-wise? We are... Are people still flying, or was that the... We're all getting ready to come in for a landing? We have a stadium over here.
Alval Stadion is an all-season...
Okay, so we're not done yet.
...located in Oslo, Norway. It is the home ground of the Norway national football team and the site of the Norwegian Cup final. From its opening in 1926 to 2009 it was the home ground of FK Lyn, and from 1999 to 2017 was a home ground of Vålerenga IF. With a capacity of approximately 28,000, it is the largest football stadium
over there.
in Norway. The national stadium is fully owned by the Football Association of Norway. The stadium opened on the 26th of September 1926 as the home ground for Lyn and several other local teams. The first international match was played in 1927, and NFF started gradually purchasing part of the stadium company. The peak attendance dates from 1935, when 35,495 people saw Norway play Sweden.
Oh boy. Hang on, Nancy. Oh boy. Wasn't thinking ahead. Speaking of thinking ahead, if you have Microsoft reward points that you've never used, and you're thinking about picking up Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 or 2024, whichever, they're going to keep supporting this, so you have nothing to worry about. You can redeem your Microsoft reward points for Microsoft Store gift cards and get small, medium, large discounts, or even free. If you have enough points, you can redeem enough for gift cards to get Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 or 2024 for free, including the deluxe premium packages. I've heard somebody had enough that they got the entire collector's edition for free. And there's a way to earn points faster. You know, you gotta prepare, plan ahead, take 5 minutes a day, answer a poll, check out a website, read a quote of the day, do a search, and you get an extra 100, 200 a day. And so if you're in no hurry and you already have some points built up, if not, go build up a whole bunch of points.
St. Margaret's Church was a stone church built around 1250 in Mardollen in Oslo. It was dedicated to Margaret of Antioch, who also gave the valley its name. St. Margaret of Antioch was the patron saint of married women and of women in labor. She is said to have been executed in 307, after refusing to marry the Roman governor Olybrius. There are some other dedications to her in Norway, but her cult was not common here until the late Middle Ages, when she was considered one of the 14 relief workers. That a church was dedicated to her as early as 1250, and that the whole valley was also named after her, is therefore something special. It is difficult to find any explanation for this, beyond the fact that one can guess that there may have been personal reasons for it with the person or persons who paid for the church building. That it is Margareta of Antioch and not Margareta of Scotland, who was canonized around the time the church was erected, is shown by references to Margareta Virginis. The church slowly but surely began to decay already after the Black Death in the middle of the 14th century. The first time it is mentioned in a written source is Bishop Eystein's land register from around 1390, where the bishop orders the reconstruction of the rectory. Mardollen was hit hard by the plague, and of the 18 farms that lay in the valley before the epidemic, only one was inhabited when it had collapsed. A separate parish church for the area was therefore hardly necessary until the population had recovered. In the Middle Ages, the church was under St. Mary's Church. The farm Kirkepew is located next to the church and served as a rectory. It may have been cleared before the church was built, but got its name when it was attached to the church. The farm was also owned by St. Margaret's Church. In 1598, the sources say that worship was held there 3 times a year. The last service took place in 1643, and after this the decay must have intensified. According to local tradition, the church was also hit by lightning in the early 17th century. all wood must have burned, and the walls partially collapsed. When it is said early in the 17th century, this does not quite agree with information that a service was celebrated there in 1643, so the information is rather uncertain. In 1815 it is mentioned for the first time as a ruin, but had probably collapsed a long time ago. Even after the church fell out of use and began to decay, candles were lit in it on certain feast days, because the ruin of the folk religion was considered sacred. The tradition is
Wow, there's a lot for this one.
1820, but appears to be older than this. The candle lighting on Christmas Eve was made until 1974. In 1823 the ruin was measured, and in
Lord.
1900 a minor restoration was carried out. In 1933 and 1934, architect Gerhard Fischer stood behind a more comprehensive restoration of the church. Today the church ruin is used, among other things, as a stage for the Moosestaffa game.
That was quite a lot. So we'll be landing here shortly. Thank you for tuning in this afternoon. I'm sorry I can't also restream the Microsoft group and CD and all those people talking over there. They play music and it just conflicts with the copyright stuff on YouTube. And if you're a streamer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And but it's been nice flying along and starting the flight out, at least starting the flight out with everybody. I'm sorry I lost people. And but I wanted to stop and do those tour sites. So so we can't land all at the same time with them and feel a big communal I'm right behind you, and I had a great time. And it was nice seeing everybody in the sky and flying with everybody today. They do these, I don't know if they're stopping. They're like, this might be the end of the world tour. They might be focusing on other things now, but usually it's always Friday at this time. And then they're going to be doing now the Friday night flights, which I might be trying to join this evening. I have to check schedules and stuff. But thank you for tuning in and hanging out with me as from my perspective on the matter. And please like and subscribe. And I don't know if you have to hit the notify bell anymore. I think it's all kind of all together. Turn off the autopilot and we'll come in for a landing.
Norwegian Armed Forces Aircraft Collection is a military aviation museum located at Gardermoen, north of Oslo in Viken County, Norway. The founding of the Norwegian Aviation Historical Society in 1967 gave the first boost to the idea of preserving aircraft in Norway. The collection's Heinkel He-111 and Northrop N3 petabytes are among the aircraft traced, recovered and restored at the instigation of the NAS. From the latter part of the 1970s onwards, a considerable number of historical aircraft were assembled in an old ex-Luftwaffe hangar at Gardermoen, and from the mid-1980s the public were admitted to the hangar during summer. Most of the activities were, and still are, based on voluntary effort. The establishment of the Norwegian Aviation Museum in Bodø in 1992 created an intense debate in the country, especially since it was the original intention to transfer all objects at Gardermoen to Bodø. After some years, a compromise was found, and in 1997 funds were allocated for a new building at Gardermoen to house a military aviation museum. The new building was inaugurated
Can't see over the damn dashboard.
from the 1st of January 2015. The collection is part of the Norwegian Air Force Museum/Armed Forces Museums.
That was a lot of floating. Park in the glow of the sunset. Okay, if I don't see you at multiple points during the weekend, just doing random live streaming stuff, then next Skydude official episode will be Monday through Friday next week, unless something weird comes up. Got a jury duty coming up at some point. That's gonna suck. All right, so yeah, let me go ahead and shut this down. You have a great night. Have a great weekend if I don't see you till Monday. And happy flying.